Ladies and gentlemen, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the Life's Playbook podcast. This is season 6, episode 4 of the Life's Playbook podcast. For those of you who are new to the show, I'm your host, Quinn Jackson of the Life's Playbook podcast. We're gonna be talking about recapping NFL Week 3 because there are some things I want to highlight about this week, and there's some things we found out about some teams and certain players after this week. So there are some things that I want to talk about and get out the way. So we're going to be diving into some NFL action today, as well as we're going to be talking about the recent, actually brand new news, actually, that the Giants are benching Big Russell Wilson for Jackson Dart. I think he's going to be playing this upcoming game. So this will be Jackson Dart's first regular season NFL debut is next week. So we're gonna be talking about that. I'll dive in on Jackson Dart a little more and how I think his play needs to be a little more next episode when I talk about my week 4 prediction. But right now we're just gonna talk about kind of like the baseline about Jackson Dart, and is this move a shocker to us? Yes or no? So we're going to be talking about that as well as talking about some key things that I want to highlight from week 3, as well as talk about how my team did, the Cleveland Browns. Because let me tell you, beating Green Bay was not on my bucket list this season. So we're going to talk about that as well. At the end of the episode, let me know how your team did this past week, and let me know how you feel about your team after week 3 going into week 4. So, having said those things, let's dive into today's episode. Before we get started with today's episode, I would like to shout out a very big, very famous, very popular comic book influencer, King Lion. I'd like to shout out King Lion. Been a long time fan of his content. Been a long time fan, really, since I had TikTok, since I downloaded TikTok. So I want to shout out King Lion for shining some light on the podcast and shining some light that the show was out there. If you haven't had a chance to follow the TikTok, go ahead and follow the TikTok. If you are on TikTok and you haven't had a chance to subscribe to the YouTube channel, I encourage you now to subscribe more than ever as the show is approaching 1K. So I want to shout out King Lion. Keep doing what you're doing, brother. I appreciate the shout out and shining some light on my podcast. Keep doing what you're doing. Been a long time fan of yours. I'll continue to like and comment and follow and all that good stuff. So shout out to you, bro. Shout out to you. Been a long time fan. So for those of you who are new, who are from King Lion's community and have followed and subscribed across all platforms, welcome. There will be episodes every week. I know I am stumbling here and there, but there will be episodes when I can. Welcome. Sit back, relax. If you're into sports, feel free to let me know of any sports talk in general that might be worth sharing on the show. Let me know who's your favorite team. We get to know you a little bit. Who's your favorite team and how your favorite team, again, at the end of the episode, let me know how your favorite team did post week 3 going into week 4, and how do you feel about them going into week 4. So welcome, guys, and this is a huge milestone for the show. Welcome. Let's dive into the episode. Starting with, well, obviously we're going to go through the scores of all the games that happened in week 3. Week 3 kicked off last Thursday with Miami at Buffalo. And to no surprise, Buffalo wins that one 31-21. That should be a shocker to absolutely nobody. The Dolphins look like one of the worst teams in the NFL right now. Who am I to talk? I am a Browns fan. But I can only judge what I've seen, and what I've seen from the Dolphins is they look like one of the worst teams in the NFL right now. Clear-cut win for the Bills. Not really going to speak too much on them. They did what they were supposed to do and got the job done. 31-21. Following that, this is one that I want to highlight right here. The Falcons at Carolina. Now, I thought the Falcons were going to run away with this one. That turned out to be everything but the case. They actually got shut out 0-30. That's actually insane because I thought the Falcons were going to be much better than they are shaping up to be right now. Right now, the division looks like it's in favor of the Bucks right now. There's nobody in the NFC South really that really stands a threat. The Saints are the worst team in the league. The Panthers are and the Falcons right now. I thought they were going to be the only other contender in the division. They're right now they're kind of So I kind of want to highlight that. Michael Penix, he ain't looking great. In fact, he didn't look great that they put in Kirk Cousins, and Kirk Cousins hasn't played a football game since freaking 2 years ago. So there's some issues at the quarterback spot still. It is no secret that there are still some issues at the quarterback spot for the Atlanta Falcons. Everything else looks okay. I mean, the defense looks okay for the Falcons. They've got the weapons, they've got the help. Just that quarterback room, there's still some issues. Hopefully, Penix can work them out. I'm still rooting for Penix. I think he still deserves the starting spot. But man, getting shut out by the Panthers was that's just terrible. That's a bad L right there for the Falcons. That's a bad L. Hopefully they get them on the next go round. Shout out to the Panthers. They all played sound, good football. If the Panthers can play like this for the rest of the season, they might be the only other contender to the Bucks for the NFC South. So Bryce Young and them boys, they were cooking. The defense was great, phenomenal. Shut out the Falcons. Hey, again, if the Panthers keep up this pace, they might be the only contenders in the NFC South. So Panthers, keep doing what you're doing. Now let's get to the Cleveland Browns. Panthers, by the way, win 30-0. Let's get to my Cleveland Browns. Well, I was not expecting beating Green Bay. That was not on my bucket list of things to watch this season. I was not expecting that at all. This was a very high and dry game up until the fourth quarter. Obviously, those final 3 minutes, this was kind of a high and dry game. Defenses on both sides really dominated. Again, the Browns have one of the best defenses in the league, which is something I can be proud of about my team. And Green Bay's defense has gotten a huge boost upon adding Micah Parsons. Now, I'm not going to say, Micah Parsons played like crap against the Browns because, again, they only held us to 13 points. And we scored a late touchdown and a late field goal, walk-off field goal. So I'm not going to say he played like trash, but his impact wasn't as big as I thought it would be this game. I'll just say that. Um, but again, this was a very high and dry game up until the final 3 minutes of the fourth quarter. Obviously, with the Browns, we get that nice little INT by Grant Delpit, sets us up in great field position for the go-ahead touchdown by Quinshon Judkins, who is shaping up to be our franchise running back. Quinshon Judkins, if he can just keep his head in the game and not on the outside off the field stuff, he's going to be phenomenal, and I think he'll be a great replacement for Nick Chubb. Not discrediting anything Nick Chubb did for the Browns, but Quinshon Judkins, the point is Quinshon Judkins is shaping up to be our next franchise back. We just got to build a more solid O-line for him and get better quarterback play for him. But he looked good. Got his first tutty of the season against Green Bay. I was hyped. It was phenomenal. Again, couldn't have done it without Grant Delpit's pick. And then the phenomenal blocked field goal, which set us up to drive down the field and get in position for our 55-yarder kicked by Andre Schmidt. And let me tell you, Schmidt, he needed that kick. He needed that kick badly because he needed that kick to get his confidence up. And so shout out to him for winning us that game, kicking us that. Again, Green Bay, they played okay. Again, the defense is dominated for both teams, really, but Green Bay played okay. Jordan Love, up until that pick, played okay. But, that's what I was talking about when I was doing my quarterback rankings and who I think were top 10, and I had Jordan Love at 8. I said, hey, the turnover problems with Jordan Love can be an issue, and they still remain an issue. They still remain an issue. not as big a issue, all right? Not as big a issue as maybe years prior, but they're still present. Now, I still think Jordan Love can be top 10, and right now he's on a roll. So he just had one bad pick at a very bad time. He'll bounce back from this, and the Packers will still do their thing. They will still do their thing. But I will say I lost a lot of years, a lot of years from my life watching that game. I probably lost like 10 years worth of my life watching that game. That game was very nerve wracking. But shout out to my Cleveland Browns. We got the job done. If we just had solid quarterback play, we would be a very, okay, not very good football team, but we would be better than where we're at right now. And let me talk about that real quick. Joe Flacco, I love you to death. And what you did in 2023 will not go unnoticed. But, brother, it's time to hang it up. It's time to sit this one out. It's time to, we got to put you to the side. We got to put you to the side. I think it's time for somebody who's a little more mobile, can extend plays, who's younger, and we can game plan with more easily. I think it's time for Dylan Gabriel to step forward. Dylan Gabriel, in my humble opinion, I think it's time for him to step forward because Flacco, I get it. He's just supposed to be this bridge quarterback. He's not going to be the guy for years and years to come. But it's the flaws are there with Flacco. I mean, the INT, he's 40 years old. He can't move. He's immobile. So once pressure gets in his face, it's kind of game over. He can't extend plays, and it's kind of hard to game plan with Flacco every week. So I think, you know, Gabriel's not the answer, but at least he can keep plays going. He's younger. He can scramble. So it takes a little bit of pressure off of the team. And until Shador is ready, okay, until Shador is ready, Gabriel is the most NFL ready rookie quarterback on the Browns team right now. So I think it's time for Gabriel to step forward, give him a shot for a couple of weeks, and see where we're at. If he's done great things for the Browns, could be the guy. If not, Shador, come on in. I still think Shador is the franchise guy. He just needs more time to develop. Different story for another day. But Flacco, I think it's time to sit this one out. You had your shine. Props to what you did in 2023 for us, coming in there and saving our season and bringing us to the playoffs. It's time to hang it up. We need somebody who's more mobile, who can at least keep the play going when pressure is coming down on them. But Browns get the job done 13-10. Again, Green Bay, I think they'll rebound. They'll rebound. The Browns, we play the Lions next week. I'm praying in that game. That's all I'm gonna say. It's not gonna be good. And it's in Detroit. It's not gonna be good. It's gonna be an ugly game. An ugly L, might I add. And we will get to the Lions when we get to the Monday night game. Houston, Jacksonville. I said it in talking about the preseason. I said it about the Texans O line and C.J. Stroud. Y'all can dig back and find the episode when I was talking about this. But I said, hey, if the O line gets worse or stays the same, Stroud is just not going to look great, and everything that I said is coming to life. This Houston Texans team is nowhere near where they were when Stroud first stepped into office. The O-line has arguably gotten worse from last season. Stroud just looks out of pace, out of rhythm. His weapons are almost gone. I mean, it's a disaster right now, and it's a disaster that I said, again, it all starts with the offensive line. I said if the O-line doesn't change, if they don't improve that O-line, this is what you're going to get. And the Texans are 0-3. Now, I'd love to say I can believe that they can bounce back from being 0-3 because the NFC South is or AFC South, excuse me, the AFC South is a relatively easy division to compete in. But you never know with that O-line. No problems with the defense, okay? No problems with the Texans' defense. They have been elite since that squad has been crafted. No problems with the Texans' defense. But that offense, man, I'd love to say the Texans can bounce back from being 0-3, but I don't know. I mean, losing to Jacksonville. Granted, I did say Jacksonville was probably going to be the only contender to Houston for that division, and right now it's kind of no competition right now. I think Jacksonville is at the forefront right now of that division. I think the only other team in competition with them right now are the Colts. So I think it's the Colts and Jacksonville right now in the forefront in that division right now. And we'll talk about the Colts later. But CJ Stroud, now I'm not putting all the blame on the O line. Stroud has, I would argue, he's regressed even more from his sophomore slump. There's just, this is a disaster that I knew was going to happen from the jump, but, you know, I Stroud, man, again, he's just out of pace. He's out of rhythm. He barely has any of his weapons back. Nico Collins, I believe he's still present, but they don't really have a Nick Chubb. He's their leading rusher right now. Dude's a shell of himself. Much respect. Much respect. Much respect to Nick Chubb. I don't know why I just blatantly said that with no respect. Nick Chubb is a respectable shell of himself, but let's be honest, he can't carry the running game for Houston all season long. That's the big picture of him. Okay, he can't do it. He shouldn't do it. But it's just not looking good. It's not looking good. And I said this again. Y'all can dig back to the episode when I said that. It all starts with the O line. If the O line looks like trash, the team is going to look like trash. And the O line has just arguably, not even arguably, they have gotten worse as opposed to last season, compared to last season. And Stroud, again, not putting all the blame on the team, but Stroud has regressed even more. Some of the blame goes on Stroud as well. He has regressed a little more from his sophomore slump. Hopefully, he can bounce back from that because he had such a great rookie season, and I don't really want to see the rookie season be the only highlight of his career. So hopefully Stroud and the team can get something going. They can get some momentum going, but it ain't looking good. It ain't looking good for Houston. Jacksonville ends up winning 17-10. Um, right now, them and the Colts are at the forefront for that division right now. The Bengals get absolutely destroyed by the Vikings. Not much to speak on of this game. Bengals, 3 months without Joe, just season's over. New England, Pitt, another one of those quiet games. Pittsburgh ends up winning that one 21-14. LA and Philly. Now I had LA winning this one. They did not. They lost 26-33. Obviously the blocked field goal by Philly put them up even more. Not a I mean for the Rams overall, not a terrible performance. Again, not a terrible performance. They were dominated that first half. The Eagles kind of looked that first half. They not a terrible performance by the Rams, but and then just after that, they just kind of went on cruise control. The Eagles they stepped up in the second half. Again, the blocked field goal put them up even more. So the Rams just kind of coasted. The Eagles ramped it up. They got the job done. Stafford played okay. He had a pick. He had a couple touchdowns, but he played okay. I'm not gonna rag on Stafford too much. But the Rams, they'll bounce back. This was a big win for Philly. I'm not gonna say this was a big L for the Rams because again, I think they'll bounce back nicely. But this was a big win for Philly. Personally, I had picked the Rams to win that one again, and I thought the Rams were going to be at the forefront in their division, but that looks like that's not the case. I believe it's the Niners right now. The Niners are 3-0 right now. So we'll see if things change moving down the line in the season. But LA, not much I can say on that game. They coasted, and the Eagles ramped up. It is what it is. Stafford played okay. Hopefully, he'll have a better performance next week. Following the trend of blocked field goals, that brings us to the Jets and the Tampa game. Tampa Bay barely wins that game, 29-27. Again, Jets blocked field goal, returned it to the house, puts them up. Tampa Bay, they drive down the field to line up for great field goal position. They kick the game-winning field goal, and everything is said and done. But not a bad performance on either side for either team. Not a bad performance at all. Tyrod Taylor looked clean, I would say. Played a clean game. Defensively, not bad. Again, both teams played solid, fundamental, all-around football. You get a ball game like that. Jets, they had it with that field goal, with that blocked field goal. They just needed to finish out the rest of the quarter on good defensive note. Again, the Bucks were just able to drive down the field, get in good position, kick the game winner. But hey, what does the Rams game, Tampa, and the Browns game all have in common? They all have a blocked field goal, which led to at least two of the teams winning, that being the Browns and the Eagles. The Jets, not bad. The Jets have been, I will say this about the Jets. The Jets have been one of the more competitive 1-3 teams right now. I will say that about the Jets. And again, Tampa, so far they have the NFC South locked right now because nobody else seems to pose any sort of threat to them right now. So I will say that about the Jets. They do seem to be one of the more competitive 0-3 teams out there right now. Moving on. Indy versus Tennessee. Not much to really say on that game other than the fact that Danny Dimes looks like freaking Peyton Manning when he was on the Colts. And that team is just firing on all cylinders, defensively and offensively. They have the depth to compete with just about anybody. And I didn't think the Colts would be. Honestly, I thought the Colts were going to finish third, but it looks like that might not even be the case. They might finish first because the Texans are bad right now. Tennessee is. Let's be honest, we weren't expecting anything from Cam Ward and the Titans this season. So it looks like, the Colts might walk away with this division. The only competition against them is Jacksonville, and even Jacksonville, I'm still kind of shaky on. Not much to say about that game. It was an utter blowout. Tennessee, Cam Ward looks decent. He doesn't look like an all-star level guy. Wasn't expecting him to look like an all-star level guy, but he looks okay. I mean, it's the Titans. What do you expect? There's still a lot of holes that they got to fix in order for Cam Ward to truly shine. But the Colts, they've been rolling. So shout out to the Colts. Colts fans, they are on cloud nine. Cloud nine right now. I didn't even think the Colts would be in this situation, especially with Danny Dimes at the helm. So shout out to the Colts. Washington beats LA 41-24. Quite frankly, this doesn't surprise me. I don't know why anybody was high on LA, on the Raiders in the first place. Genty, I will admit, not really seeing a whole lot of the dude, and I think that needs to change. I think the formula runs through Genty, and we haven't really been seeing a lot of him. So I think the Raiders got to step that up, and maybe they'll see better results. Geno Smith also has to step up his play. Might I add, Jaden Daniels was not playing that game. Marcus Mariota was at the helm for that game, so that's pretty impressive that they put up 41 with Marcus Mariota. But again, it's the Raiders. Honestly, I don't know why anybody was like on the Raiders hype train coming into the season. I thought the Raiders were going to be a bottom team in the NFL. They probably won't be a bottom team in the NFL. They'll probably be a middle of the pack. I still don't think they're going to be anywhere close to competing in their division because I think the Chiefs will get back to peak form. Well, maybe not peak form, but they'll get back to a form where they can be competitive in the division. And I think the Broncos are still way better than them, and I think the Chargers are way better than them. So, not surprised. Not surprised that the Raiders lost. Speaking of Broncos and Chargers, this was one of the quiet games of Week 3. The Broncos end up losing to the Chargers. Now, I will say the Chargers, they look pretty dominant right now. I'd say the Chargers are one of the more dominant 3-0 teams out there right now. Solid run game, solid coaching. Just J Herb looking great as usual. Looking great as usual. Broncos, some people are already coming online on social media and saying Bo Nix is not that guy. after this game. I'm not going to say I agree with them because he had such an amazing, ending to his rookie season. I mean, yeah, I'm not going to sit here and say that Bo Nix is not that guy after this game. I mean, could he have played better? Yeah, but I'm not going to say, oh, this guy's not it, just because they lose to the Chargers. And plus, it's a divisional game. Divisional games are way tougher than out of division games. Um, I think the Broncos will bounce back soundly. I think Bo Nix will bounce back performance wise. And quite frankly, I don't know why there are some people coming out here and saying he's not the guy already. It's one game. He did play poorly, but chill out on Bo Nix is what I'm trying to say. But the Chargers, they look great. One of the more dominant 3-0 teams out there right now. Not much to say on that game. They get the job done 23-20. Seahawks dismantle New Orleans. No surprise there. Kenneth Walker did cost me my fantasy game. Dude popped off for 2 touchdowns, and that is the very last thing I needed. I needed Kenneth Walker to have a bad game, and that is not the case. And he ended up carrying my fantasy opponent's team. So great performance for him in reality, but for my fantasy team, that's the worst possible outcome I could have hoped for. But Seattle slams the Saints. No surprise there. Saints are one of the worst teams in the NFL. Um, at this point, they're just fighting for the first overall draft pick with my Cleveland Browns. Uh, having said that, the Chicago Bears finally look like a complete football team, destroying, and I mean destroying, the Dallas Cowboys. And I never thought I'd say the Bears would destroy anybody in this league. But Week 3 showed probably the best we'll ever see of the Chicago Bears and the best we'll ever see from Caleb Williams. What did he have, like 4 or 5 touchdowns that game? He was slinging it. Caleb Williams actually looked like a first overall pick. He looked solid. I mean, I'll say it again. This is the most complete we'll probably ever see from the Chicago Bears. Because the road obviously doesn't get easier from here. But the Bears end up winning this one 31-14. This was just a great game for the Bears on all cylinders. Defensively, with the 2 INTs, Edmonds with 2 INTs. Offensively, again, they looked like they looked like they were playoff bound. I mean, I've never seen a Bears team more in sync in my life. But hey, Bears fans, this is a big win for y'all. This is a big win. I know Dallas is nowhere near as good as they would like to be or would have been years past, and there's a lot of reasons for that. Probably wishing they probably kept Micah Parsons because that defense has looked atrocious, and it's come to no surprise. Probably should have at least attempted to get Micah Parsons signed because he's thriving in Green Bay, and you guys are in the gutter defensively. Offensively, CeeDee Lamb being out, that's going to hurt the team even more. It's just a mess. It's a mess right now, and it's a mess that we all knew was coming because Jerry Jones is Jerry Jones. So the Cowboys being bad should not be a surprise to anybody, but getting destroyed by the Bears should be a surprise because that's the Chicago Bears, and that's a new head coach, rookie QB. Um, so yeah, getting destroyed by the Bears should be a surprise, but Dallas being bad should not be a surprise because it's Jerry Jones. Terrible offseason decisions, not wanting to extend Micah Parsons, and now you are reaping what you sow. So shout out to the Bears. This is, again, I'll say it till the season's over. This is the best we'll probably ever see of the Bears. If the Bears play like this for the rest of the season, we could be seeing them in the playoffs. We could be seeing them as a wild card team. As a wild card team, we could be seeing them in the playoffs. But man, did Caleb Williams look good. Uh, moving on, Cardinals. They had their spotlight. They had their moment, and they blew it. San Fran gets the job done. San Fran is right now at the helm of the division, I believe. I thought it would be the Rams at this stage in the game, but it is not right now. It's actually San Fran. I thought San Fran was going to be in the gutter after seeing all of the negative moves they made in the off season, but right now they're looking good. Now the injuries are starting to settle in on San Fran, so we'll see if they can keep up this high that they're on right now. I know Nick Bosa is out right now, and Brock Purdy is out, but Mac Jones has been playing good football. I'll give him that. Mac Jones has been playing good football, but again, the injury bug is starting to settle in for the Niners, so we'll see if they can keep up this high. Cardinals, you had your chance, you blew it. Now I want to talk about Marvin Harrison Jr. real quick and Kyler Murray, because this is the duo that I'm still hoping works. But from what I've seen, it looks like it's not going to work out. Marvin Harrison Jr. Again, he's from Ohio State, so I'm always going to be rooting for the brother. And I said that when I made my video talking about guys who were in desperate need of a breakout, I said I had him on the list, and he's not in desperate need because it's only his sophomore season, but he does need to have a good season. And at the pace he's at right now, I don't know if he's going to get that. At the pace he's at right now, I don't know if he's going to have that breakout season. It might be next season. I don't know. It's just, the problems are there with Marvin Harrison Jr. The problems are there. I, I mean, Kyler is Kyler. I mean, I don't know why the dude is allergic to giving Marvin Harrison Jr. the ball. But that's a duo that I was hoping coming into the season and for years to come would work out. And right now, it doesn't look like it's going to work out. What happens moving forward is what happens moving forward. But Marvin Harrison Jr. is a talent that should not be wasted. I think the Cardinals know that, and we all know that. I think he's got to lock in. It's time to feed your wide receiver one the ball, so he can show us why he was drafted as high as he was, and why he's elite, and why he could. I mean, I'm saying could. I'm not saying he is elite, but he could be an elite receiver, join that upper echelon with the guys like BTJ and Malik Neighbors and Lam McConkey and all the other high end wide receivers. Because Marvin Harrison has the capabilities. He has the skill set. He has the potential. He's just not getting the ball, and I don't understand that. So that's something that him and Kyler got to work out. But San Fran gets the job done. Is the point? San Fran gets the job done. They're at the helm of the NFC West. Chiefs beat the Giants. Not much I can really say there. Again, first off, this was a must need win for the Chiefs, because if they had lost this, they may as well kiss the season goodbye, because he would have lost to the Giants. But this was a much needed win for the Chiefs. I think they'll use this win to swing them back into the momentum that they need to compete for their division. I think they will be competing for their division again. I think Mahomes, Kelsey, they're going to be locked in. I need Kelsey to lock in because I just accepted a trade with him as part of the trade package. So now he's on my team, and I need Kelsey to lock in. So, anyways, aside from the fantasy, I think this is the win that the Chiefs going to use to give them the momentum to compete for their division. I think they will compete for the division. And I definitely think we'll see them in the playoffs. Maybe not in a higher position that we're used to seeing them, but I do think we'll still see the Chiefs in the playoffs. Moving over to the Giants. Well, I said I was going to talk about Jackson Dart being handed the keys to the team, and that's kind of all I'm really going to talk about as far as the Giants. I mean, what can I really talk about game wise with the Giants? I mean, they got killed 22-9, but I am going to talk about Jackson Dart because he has now been handed the keys to the team. And in the preseason, the dude has looked like a first round draft pick in the preseason. But we all know the preseason is not exactly the same as regular ball. It's not exactly the same as the regular season. So hopefully he can take that success that he had in the preseason and implement it in the regular season. Because if that's the case, then the Giants could be a very scrappy, competitive team. So I'm rooting for Jackson Dart. This is the perfect time for him to shine. Um, yeah, let's Giants fans, y'all better hope the success he had in the preseason transfers to the regular season. I'm excited. We'll be watching that dude closely. I think this is good. This is good for him. This is good for him. Jackson Dart is the old team now. Again, this move shouldn't be surprising to really any of us because Russell Wilson is a huge shell of himself, and we all knew at some point Jackson Dart was going to come in. It's just a matter of time when. Now, I didn't expect they were gonna 40-ounce bounce Russ this early. Didn't expect that, but we all knew at some point Jackson Dart was going to get his chance to shine, and here we are. So shout out Jackson Dart. He's now been handed the keys to the team. We'll be watching him closely, and hopefully the success he had in the preseason, he can transfer it to the regular season, because if that's the case, the Giants could be a sneaky, good, and competitive team. Having said that, to wrap up the video as well as the recap, the Lions get the job done against the Ravens, 38-30. Now obviously I went to sleep, so I didn't get to see the second half of the game. I watched the whole first half. So I can really only speak on the first half of that game. And the first half wise, both teams looked pretty crisp. First half wise, both teams looked pretty crisp. Lions scored on the opening possession. Ravens scored on the opening possession. Jahmyr Gibbs, he had a field day for my team. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough for my fantasy squad because the damage was already done thanks to Kenneth Walker. But anyways, St. Brown had a good day as well in the office. Jahmyr Gibbs had a good day in the office. So shout out them too. Uh, Again, first half, both teams look crisp. Second half, again, I can't really speak on that because I went to sleep. So y'all, if y'all seen the second half of the game, let me know exactly where did it all go wrong for the Ravens. All right. Moving forward, because the Ravens are now 1-2. So obviously there's some problems going on with the Ravens that need to be addressed. And I'm not a Ravens fan, so I'm not exactly sure what all it is that's the problem. Is it the run game? Is it the pass? Is it the injuries that are starting to settle in? We shouldn't be in. First off, we shouldn't be in panic mode because they lost to the Lions. The Lions are a good team. They're still one of the best teams in the NFL, despite losing Ben Johnson. But there are some crystal clear problems with that Ravens team that needs to be addressed if the Ravens are going to bounce back from being 1-2. Right now, at this stage, I thought they would at least be at the helm of the AFC North. That's not the case right now. I believe the case is the Pittsburgh Steelers are at the helm right now. So, shout out to the Lions in the first half. They looked crisp. They really looked crisp all game. And shout out to the Ravens, at least for the first half. They looked crisp. At least in the first half. Y'all let me know. If you're a Ravens fan, let me know how y'all feel about that game. Are there some crystal clear problems that need to be addressed? Let me know what they are. And let me know how you feel about, if you're a Ravens fan, let me know how you feel about your team moving forward into week 4. Having said that, Detroit ends up winning that game 38-30. Not a bad Monday Night Football game. Not a bad Monday Night Football game. Having said that, y'all, let me know how your favorite team did in week 3. And let me know what you think of your favorite team moving into week 4. Are they on the high, or are they in the middle ground, or are they on the low? I'm going to tell you right now, my Cleveland Browns, we are in the middle ground right now. Again, I think Flacco, he's got to get 40-ounce bounce. Flacco's got to get 40-ounce bounce. But I'm going to tell you right now, my team is in the middle ground. Let me know how your team is right now. Having said that, I'll catch you guys Friday for the NFL Week 4 prediction. Till then, peace out.